In a bustling metropolis of the United States, Daniela, a young beggar girl, found herself navigating the hectic streets under the blistering heat of the sun. Clutched tightly against her chest was an envelope, its significance so great that it felt almost like a lifeline. At just 20 years old, Daniela had faced an existence fraught with relentless struggle and hardship on the unforgiving streets. Her daily battles for survival had sculpted her resilience, but today, a flicker of hope shone through the drudgery of her life. She had come across something that could potentially alter the course of her destiny forever. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. As Daniela approached the imposing and grandiose mansion of Aro, her heart raced with a mix of trepidation and hope. The enormity of the mansion's entrance loomed before her, and with a breath of steely resolve, she pressed the doorbell. The door creaked open to reveal a towering, formidable housekeeper, her gaze icy and scrutinizing. The woman's demeanor was one of utter disdain and condescension. "What is it that you want?" she inquired, her tone sharp and dismissive, clearly unimpressed by Daniela's presence. Despite the chilly reception, Daniela stood her ground, her voice unwavering as she spoke. "I need to see Mr. Arturo. I have something of great importance to deliver." The housekeeper's response was a dry, sarcastic laugh, her eyes rolling with contempt. "Mr. Arturo does not entertain beggars. If you seek money, find employment," she retorted, beginning to shut the door with a dismissive flick. Determined not to be turned away, Daniela swiftly wedged her foot in the gap, halting the door's progress. "I am not leaving until I have handed over these documents. They are crucial," she asserted with urgency and conviction. The housekeeper paused, taken aback by Daniela's resolute stance. The sincerity in her voice and the earnestness in her eyes made the housekeeper pause, if only for a moment. With a reluctant sigh and a look of irritation, she begrudgingly left the door ajar and retreated inside, disappearing into the mansion's opulent interior. Daniela stood there, her heart pounding fiercely, each beat echoing her mounting anxiety and anticipation. After what felt like an eternity, a tall, impeccably dressed man emerged. Arturo, the mansion's owner, appeared visibly agitated by the interruption. His gaze, filled with a mixture of irritation and skepticism, bore into Daniela. "What is the meaning of this disruption?" he demanded, his voice sharp. "I have come with your documents," Daniela said, extending the envelope towards him with trembling hands. Arturo's initial skepticism was evident as he scrutinized her with a mix of distrust and irritation. He accepted the envelope, tearing it open to reveal the contents. His eyes widened in shock as he recognized the critical importance of the documents. "Where did you come across these?" he asked, his voice tinged with suspicion. "That's not relevant right now," Daniela replied, her voice steady despite the tension. "What matters is that I am delivering them to you." Arturo's gaze remained hardened, his skepticism unyielding. "My documents should not be in the hands of someone like you. You must be deceiving me. If you seek money, get a job. I do not have time for this nonsense," he said, resuming his effort to close the door. "I will not depart until you have received these documents," Daniela insisted with fierce determination. "These documents are vital, and you need them." Arturo paused, his hand still on the door. He assessed Daniela's unwavering determination and the earnest intensity in her eyes. After a tense moment, he realized she was genuine. Daniela extracted the documents from the envelope, and Arturo, now convinced of her sincerity, saw the truth in her words. "Very well," Arturo said, finally relenting and reopening the door with a sense of resignation. "Come inside. We'll discuss this further." Daniela stepped into the grand mansion, feeling a stark contrast between the opulence surrounding her and her modest reality. The lavish hallways, adorned with priceless art and sumptuous furnishings, created an atmosphere of grandeur that felt almost alien to her. Arturo led her through this extravagant space to a tastefully decorated living room. where he gestured towards a plush sofa for her to sit on. "Please, have a seat," Arturo instructed with a note of skepticism in his voice. "Now, tell me exactly how you came by these documents and what prompted you to bring them to me." Daniela took a deep breath, summoning her inner resolve. She knew this was a pivotal moment, and she needed to convey her story clearly and sincerely. "I was walking down the street when I stumbled upon these documents in a discarded pile of trash. Seeing your name and address, I realized their significance and decided it was my duty to return them to you personally," she explained, hoping her honesty would resonate with him. Arturo listened in silence, his expression unreadable as he absorbed her account. Despite his initial doubt, there was something in Daniela's earnestness that began to penetrate his skepticism. The urgency and sincerity in her voice made him reconsider his initial judgment. "Very well," Arturo said at length, still guarded but somewhat softened. "I'll need to verify these documents, but understand that I can't simply take your word without some scrutiny. I will look into this matter further." Daniela nodded, her eyes reflecting a mixture of relief and understanding. "Thank you," she said with heartfelt gratitude. "I only wanted to do what's right." Arturo studied her for a moment longer, his expression gradually softening. "Let's see," he said, still cautious but slightly more receptive. Arturo meticulously examined the documents, his face shifting through expressions of relief and surprise as he processed their importance. After several minutes of intense scrutiny, he finally set the documents aside and turned his attention back to Daniela, who sat on the sofa, her eyes filled with a hopeful yet anxious gleam. "These documents are indeed mine. You've done well in bringing them back to me," he said, his tone now more tempered and respectful. "I knew they were important," Daniela replied, her voice trembling with a blend of relief and nervous anticipation. Arturo put the documents aside and walked over to a nearby table. He retrieved his wallet and began writing a check. "How much do you want for finding and returning these documents?" he asked, the pen poised over the check. Daniela's face fell, and she shook her head with a sense of urgency. "I don't want money," she said firmly. "That's not what I'm asking for." Arturo halted his writing and looked at her, confusion evident on his face. "Then what is it that you want?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. Daniela sighed deeply, knowing her request was unconventional and deeply personal. "I want you to treat me like a daughter for 1 week," she said, her voice steady but laden with vulnerability. Her request hung in the air, laden with an emotional weight that was almost palpable. Arturo stood motionless, the gravity of her words sinking in. He slowly lowered his pen and turned to face her fully, his eyes wide with astonishment. "What?" he asked, struggling to process her request. "I've never had a real family. I want to experience what it's like to have a father, even if it's only for a week," Daniela explained, her voice trembling with a blend of hope and desperation. Arturo took a deep breath, wrestling with the unexpected nature of her request. He had anticipated a material demand, but this plea for emotional connection struck a chord he had long neglected. Having lost his father in childhood, he understood the profound impact of such an absence. "You're asking me to act as your father for a week," he echoed, trying to grasp the full extent of her heartfelt plea. "Yes, that is all I'm asking for. I don't need money or any material possessions. I just want to experience what it's like to have a father, even if it's just for a brief moment," Daniela said, her gaze unwavering as it met Arturo's. Arturo sat in contemplation, his mind wrestling with the peculiarity of her request. But the notion seemed almost absurd, yet there was something profoundly human and deeply touching in her plea. The idea of parenthood had never crossed his mind, especially after the loss of his father. Yet here was this young woman, seeking something so simple yet so fundamentally significant. After a pause that felt eternal, Arturo finally spoke. "Very well," he said with a tone of reluctant acceptance. "I will honor your request. For 1 week I will treat you as though you were my daughter." Daniela's face lit up with a mixture of relief and overwhelming emotion. She could hardly believe that her plea had been granted. "Thank you, Mr. Arturo. This means more to me than words can express," she said, her voice quivering with genuine gratitude. "Please, just call me Arturo," he replied with a hint of a smile. "Here's what we'll do starting tomorrow. You'll stay here in the mansion for the week. I'll arrange a room for you." Daniela's face softened into her first real smile since arriving. "Thank you, Arturo," she said, her voice imbued with genuine joy. Arturo stood and rang the bell, summoning the housekeeper. She appeared with her usual stern expression, though there was now a touch of curiosity in her eyes. At that moment, Lorena, Arturo's wife, arrived home with several shopping bags, her face glowing with satisfaction from her retail therapy. Accustomed to a life of luxury, her shopping trips were a cherished routine. As she entered the mansion and saw Arturo seated on the sofa with a grave expression, she paused, sensing that something was amiss. "Arturo, what's going on?" Lorena asked, setting her shopping bags down and moving towards him. Arturo looked up, taking a deep breath as he prepared to explain. "We need to talk, Lorena. Today brought something unforeseen," he said, patting the seat beside him. Lorena's heart skipped a beat, a chill running down her spine as she sat down, her eyes fixed on her husband. "What happened?" she asked, her voice tinged with apprehension. "Today, a young woman named Daniela arrived at our doorstep, bringing with her a story that I never anticipated." Arturo began, his voice heavy with contemplation as he recounted the day's events to Lorena. "She found some critical documents that I had misplaced. Instead of asking for monetary compensation, she made a profoundly unusual request." Lorena's eyes widened, a mixture of curiosity and disbelief flickering across her face. "What sort of request?" she asked, her voice tinged with skepticism and intrigue. "She requested to be treated as our daughter for an entire week," Arturo said, his tone earnest and filled with an undercurrent of hesitation as he awaited his wife's reaction. Lorena's shock was evident as her mouth fell open. "And you agreed to this?" she asked incredulously, her voice a blend of astonishment and concern. Arturo nodded, his expression serious and thoughtful. "Yes, I did. There was something deeply moving about her request. It may seem irrational, but there was an earnestness in her plea that I couldn't ignore. I felt it was important to at least give her a chance and understand her motives better." Lorena shook her head vehemently, her frustration palpable. "This is utterly absurd, Arturo. We have no background on this girl. How can you justify bringing someone like her into our home without knowing anything about her?" Her tone was filled with disbelief and irritation. "I realize it sounds unconventional," Arturo replied, his voice steady but insistent. "But her sincerity struck a chord with me. I don't want to dismiss her request outright without giving it due consideration." Lorena fell silent, her mind racing as she grappled with her husband's decision. After a tense pause, she spoke, her voice reluctant yet resigned. "Fine, but if this turns into a disaster, you will bear the responsibility." "Understood," Arturo said, standing and straightening his posture. "I'll make all the necessary preparations for her stay. She'll begin living here starting tomorrow." Lorena nodded curtly, her expression still marked by skepticism. "I sincerely hope this decision doesn't lead to any problems," she said as she turned to head towards her room. Arturo watched her retreat, feeling a mix of apprehension and hopeful determination. He was aware that his decision could introduce unforeseen complications, but he was committed to understanding Daniela's request and providing her with the opportunity she had earnestly sought. The next day, Daniela awoke early with a heart full of anticipation and trepidation about her new life in the mansion. The transition from her life on the streets to the grandeur of the mansion felt like stepping into a dream, both exhilarating and daunting. The housekeeper, though maintaining her usual stern demeanor, guided Daniela through the opulent corridors of the mansion. She showed her the luxurious room that would be her residence for the coming week. Daniela marveled at the exquisite decor and sumptuous furnishings, her senses overwhelmed by the beauty and comfort of her new surroundings. Every detail seemed to contrast sharply with the harsh reality she had known, and she felt a surge of mixed emotions: excitement, anxiety, and wonder. In the initial days of her stay, Daniela began to forge a relationship with Arturo. He was attentive and courteous, though he carried himself with a formal and reserved air. Arturo took her to elegant dinners, engaged in light-hearted conversation, and even introduced her to the city's more refined aspects. Daniela was captivated by these experiences, and as the days went by, a connection started to form between them. Arturo's gestures of kindness and the insights he shared allowed her to glimpse a world of affluence and privilege she had never before imagined. Daniela began to appreciate these moments, slowly building a rapport with Arturo that was grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Lorena, however, remained distant and skeptical. She observed Daniela from a distance, her apprehension palpable as she tried to navigate the young woman's unexpected presence in their lives. Despite her outward politeness, it was evident that Lorena was deeply uncomfortable with the situation and struggled to accept Daniela's place within their family dynamics. She maintained a formal demeanor, keeping her interactions with Daniela courteous but detached. As the week progressed, the mansion's atmosphere became a blend of intrigue and tension. Daniela, though initially nervous, began to find her footing within the luxurious setting. Arturo continued to show her kindness and consideration, though the formality of their interactions remained. Meanwhile, Lorena's cautious observations continued, her unease subtly influencing the household's dynamics. The unusual arrangement created a complex web of emotions and interactions within the mansion, as each person navigated their roles and reactions to the unexpected presence of Daniela. The week was shaping up to be a unique and challenging experience, one that promised to reveal more about each individual involved and the impact of Daniela's extraordinary request. As the days of Daniela's stay progressed, a profound transformation unfolded. The interactions between Daniela and Arturo deepened, evolving from mere formality to genuine connection. Each day they spent more time together, engaged in heartfelt conversations and shared experiences. Daniela opened up about her life on the streets, her daily struggles, the harsh realities of survival, and her unfulfilled dreams. Arturo listened intently, his empathy growing with every story she shared. He found himself increasingly moved by her incredible resilience and indomitable courage. On the final evening of Daniela's stay, Arturo decided to mark the end of their week together with a small, intimate farewell dinner. The ambience was bittersweet, charged with emotion and reflection. As they sat around the elegantly set dining table, Arturo raised his glass, his voice filled with heartfelt sincerity. To Daniela he began, his tone reflecting deep appreciation. "Thank you for reminding me of the profound importance of family and compassion. Your presence has been a gift." Daniela's eyes glistened with tears as she listened. "Thank you, Arturo," she replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "This week has been more meaningful to me than I could ever put into words. You've given me a glimpse into a world I had only dreamed of." As the evening drew to a close, Daniela prepared to leave the mansion, her heart swelling with a mix of accomplishment and gratitude. The week had provided her with a rare opportunity to experience a life vastly different from her own, a life of comfort, care, and connection. The bond she had formed with Arturo was something she would treasure for the rest of her life. Arturo stood by the door, watching as she departed, his own emotions a complex blend of sadness and thankfulness for the unexpected journey they had shared. As Daniela walked away from the mansion, a renewed sense of hope and purpose guided her steps. The time spent with Arturo had been a transformative experience, and she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. It was an opportunity to glimpse what it meant to have a family, even if only for a brief period. The memories of the week were a beacon of hope for her future, a reminder of the kindness and connection she had experienced. Despite the supportive environment within the mansion, Daniela faced curious glances and whispered conversations from the household staff and visitors. She remained composed, resolute in her understanding that this opportunity was unique and transformative for her. She refused to let the disapproval of others overshadow the significance of her experience. Sensing Daniela's discomfort and wanting to ease her transition into the household, Arturo made an effort to integrate more personal activities into their time together. One afternoon, they spent hours in the mansion's expansive kitchen, preparing a meal side by side. The kitchen, with its gleaming countertops and state-of-the-art appliances, was a stark contrast to the makeshift cooking spaces Daniela had known. "Do you enjoy cooking?" Arturo asked, as he skillfully chopped herbs while Daniela cut vegetables with a practiced hand. Daniela looked up, a smile forming as she worked. "I do, actually. It's one of the few things that's always brought me comfort. Cooking has a way of grounding me, even in the most uncertain times." Arturo nodded, genuinely interested. "I can see that. There's something very calming about it. It's like creating a little piece of home wherever you are." Daniela nodded in agreement, her expression thoughtful. "Exactly. And it's a way to bring a bit of joy into life, even if it's just through a simple meal." Their conversation flowed easily as they cooked, the activity providing a natural bridge for deeper connection. Arturo found himself appreciating Daniela's perspective on life and her ability to find beauty and solace in everyday activities. For Daniela, the time spent in the kitchen was not just about preparing a meal, but about savoring a moment of normalcy and shared experience that she had longed for. The warmth of their interaction in the kitchen was a fitting end to a week filled with profound moments. As Daniela prepared to leave, the bond she had formed with Arturo was a testament to the transformative power of empathy and human connection. The week had been an emotional journey, one that left a lasting impression on both of them and reaffirmed the importance of kindness and understanding in their lives. Lorena's harsh words seemed to cut through the calm of the kitchen, leaving Daniela visibly shaken. The tension between them was palpable, and Daniela's attempt to explain herself only seemed to fuel Lorena's distrust. "I don't think you understand," Daniela said, her voice trembling but firm. "I'm not here to manipulate anyone or to take advantage of Arturo's kindness. I simply wanted to experience something I've never had: a sense of family and belonging." Lorena's expression softened slightly, but her skepticism remained. "You think a week can make up for a lifetime of hardships? You think you can just waltz into our lives and become part of our family?" Daniela took a deep breath, trying to steady her emotions. "I know it's not that simple, but this week has meant a lot to me. It's given me a glimpse of something I've always dreamed of." Lorena shook her head, her frustration evident. "Arturo is a kind man, but he's also easily swayed by emotions. I don't trust that this is all there is to your story." "Why is it so hard to believe that I just wanted to feel loved and accepted, even if only for a short while?" Daniela asked, her voice breaking. She wiped away a tear, trying to maintain her composure. "I'm not trying to be a burden. I just wanted to know what it feels like to be part of a family." Lorena's anger seemed to give way to a complex mix of emotions: resentment, confusion, and perhaps a hint of guilt. She sighed heavily, her eyes searching Daniela's face for any sign of deceit. "Fine," she said, her tone grudging. "If Arturo is willing to believe in your intentions, then I suppose I have to as well. But don't expect me to be anything but distant. This situation is difficult for me, and I need time to process it." Daniela nodded, her shoulders slumping slightly with relief and sadness. "I understand. I'm grateful for the chance Arturo has given me, even if things are hard with you." Lorena left the kitchen, leaving Daniela alone with her thoughts. Daniela felt a mix of relief and lingering sadness. It was clear that Lorena's distrust would not easily be dispelled, but she resolved to make the most of the time she had left. In the following days, Daniela continued to grow closer to Arturo. Their time together was marked by small, meaningful interactions, shared meals, heartfelt conversations, and moments of quiet understanding. Arturo remained supportive, appreciating Daniela's sincerity and the genuine effort she was making to integrate into their lives. Despite the tension with Lorena, Daniela found solace in the positive moments she shared with Arturo. Their connection was a source of strength for her, and she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to experience something so significant. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, Arturo turned to Daniela with a thoughtful expression. "I know this week hasn't been easy for you, and it certainly hasn't been easy for Lorena. But I want you to know that your presence here has made a difference. You've shown me a lot about the value of compassion and the importance of family." Daniela looked at Arturo, her eyes filled with appreciation. "Thank you, Arturo. Your kindness has meant more to me than I can express. I've learned so much from this experience." As the week drew to a close, Daniela prepared to leave the mansion with a heart full of mixed emotions. The time she had spent with Arturo had been a profound and transformative experience, and she felt a deep sense of both loss and gratitude. On her final morning, Arturo met her at the door with a small package in hand. "This is for you," he said, handing it to her with a warm smile. "A little keepsake to remember our time together." Daniela opened the package to find a beautiful leather journal. "Thank you," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "I'll cherish this always." Arturo gave her a heartfelt hug. "Take care, Daniela. I hope your journey ahead is filled with the hope and opportunities you deserve." As Daniela walked away from the mansion, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The week had been a unique and deeply meaningful experience, one that would stay with her for the rest of her life. She left with a greater understanding of what it meant to be part of a family and a newfound hope for her future. Daniela's heart raced as she approached Arturo, feeling the weight of her new revelation. She knocked softly on the study door before entering, trying to steady her nerves. Arturo looked up from his paperwork, a concerned expression crossing his face as he saw the troubled look on Daniela's face. "Daniela, is everything all right?" Arturo asked, setting aside his papers. "I need to tell you something important," Daniela said, her voice trembling. "I ran into someone I used to know today, Landro. He mentioned something that might be relevant to our situation." Arturo's interest was piqued. "What did he say?" "Leandro recognized Lorena from a photo I showed him. He saw her acting strangely on the street late at night, throwing garbage in a container in a secluded area. It seemed odd to him because it was so late and the street was isolated," Daniela explained, her eyes searching Arturo's for a reaction. Arturo's brow furrowed as he absorbed the information. "That is unusual. Lorena has been acting distant and suspicious lately, but I didn't think much of it." "I thought you should know," Daniela continued. "It could be important. Maybe it explains why she's been so antagonistic toward me. And it could be connected to the documents." Arturo took a deep breath, trying to piece together the new information. "I appreciate you bringing this to me, Daniela. It's clear now that there might be more going on than we initially thought." Daniela nodded, relieved that Arturo was taking her seriously. "I didn't want to cause any more trouble, but I thought you should be aware." "I'm glad you did," Arturo said, his voice steady. "I'll talk to Lorena about this. It's crucial that we get to the bottom of this situation." The next morning, Arturo confronted Lorena in a calm and measured tone. They were alone in their bedroom, away from the prying eyes of the household. "Lorena, we need to talk about something that's come to light. Daniela informed me of something concerning." Lorena looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and irritation. "What now, Arturo?" "Leandro, a friend of Daniela's, saw you acting suspiciously at night. He mentioned you were throwing garbage in a secluded area of the street. I'm concerned because it might be connected to the missing documents and the tension between us." Lorena's face turned pale. "You're believing that girl's story now? This is absurd." "I need to know the truth," Arturo said firmly. "If there's something you're hiding, it's better we address it now." Lorena hesitated, her expression conflicted. Finally, she sighed deeply. "Fine. I did go to that area late at night, but it was just to dispose of some things. It wasn't connected to anything criminal. I didn't want to worry you, and I didn't think it was relevant." Arturo studied her face, searching for any signs of deceit. "But why did you feel the need to hide it? And how does it relate to the documents?" Lorena's eyes dropped to the floor. "I didn't think it would make sense to you. I was trying to protect our privacy and maintain some control over things. I didn't want to involve you in unnecessary drama." Arturo felt a pang of disappointment but remained composed. "Lorena, our honesty and trust are crucial, especially in such a delicate situation. If there's more to this, I need to know. We can't afford to let misunderstandings and secrecy drive a wedge between us." Lorena nodded slowly, her anger giving way to resignation. "I understand. I should have been more open. I'm sorry for any trouble this has caused." With a sense of resolution, Arturo and Lorena agreed to approach the situation with a renewed focus on transparency and understanding. They decided to discuss their concerns openly and work towards finding a resolution that would not only address the issues with Daniela, but also repair their strained relationship. Later that day, Arturo and Lorena made an effort to be more accommodating towards Daniela. They invited her to join them for a more relaxed and friendly dinner, where the atmosphere was notably warmer. Lorena even made an effort to engage in conversation with Daniela, trying to bridge the gap that had formed between them. As the week drew to a close, the tension gradually eased. Daniela felt a mix of relief and sadness as she prepared to leave the mansion, knowing that her presence had stirred complex emotions but also led to important revelations. On the final night of her stay, Arturo and Lorena hosted a small farewell gathering. The dinner was a symbol of their attempt to mend the rift and show their appreciation for Daniela's presence. "Thank you for being a part of our lives this week," Daniela Arturo said during the toast. "It has been a challenging but eye-opening experience for all of us." Daniela smiled, her eyes reflecting a sense of accomplishment and hope. "Thank you both for giving me this chance. I've learned so much, and I will carry this experience with me." As Daniela left the mansion the next morning, she felt a deep sense of closure. Her time with Arturo and Lorena had been transformative, offering her a glimpse into a world she had long yearned for. She walked away with a renewed sense of purpose and hope for her future, grateful for the opportunity to have experienced a taste of family life. The room felt tense as Arturo walked away, leaving Daniela and Lorena alone. Daniela could sense that Lorena was struggling with her emotions and tried to offer a compassionate gesture. She approached Lorena, her voice gentle but firm. "Lorena, I didn't mean to cause trouble," Daniela began. "I just wanted to understand why things were so tense. If there's something more going on, it might help to talk about it." Lorena looked at Daniela, her eyes filled with a mix of frustration and vulnerability. "It's not just about the papers. There's more to it than that." "Can you tell me what's really bothering you?" Daniela asked, her tone sincere. Lorena hesitated, then took a deep breath. "It's just that I feel overshadowed by everything right now. Arturo's focus has shifted so much towards helping you, and it's making me feel like I'm losing my place in our own home." Daniela nodded, her heart softening at Lorena's words. "I can understand how that might feel. Sometimes when we're faced with something unexpected, it can make us feel insecure or threatened." Lorena sighed, rubbing her temples. "It's not just that. I've been feeling overwhelmed by everything, and I didn't handle it well. I'm sorry for how I've acted." "Thank you for being honest," Daniela said, offering a reassuring smile. "I hope we can move past this and find a way to understand each other better." Lorena gave a small, reluctant nod. "Maybe we can try. I didn't want it to come to this, but I guess it's part of what we need to work through." As the evening progressed, the atmosphere in the mansion gradually shifted. Arturo returned to the living room, and the three of them had a frank conversation about their feelings and concerns. Although the discussion was difficult, it was also necessary for clearing the air and beginning to rebuild trust. Arturo spoke with calm determination. "I know this situation has been challenging for all of us, but I want to emphasize that we need to be honest and open with each other. Daniela's presence has shown us where we need to improve our communication and empathy." Lorena nodded, acknowledging the need for change. "I agree. I've been feeling neglected and didn't handle it well. I'll work on being more understanding." Daniela, feeling hopeful, added, "I'm grateful for the chance to experience a family dynamic, even if it's been difficult. I hope that, in some way, we can all learn from this and move forward positively." The conversation ended on a more hopeful note, and as the days passed, there was a conscious effort to create a more harmonious environment in the mansion. Daniela, Arturo, and Lorena worked towards rebuilding their relationships and understanding each other better. When Daniela's final day arrived, it was clear that the experience had been transformative for everyone involved. Arturo and Lorena had gained insight into their own challenges and the importance of addressing them, while Daniela had found a renewed sense of hope and purpose. As Daniela prepared to leave, Arturo and Lorena both expressed their gratitude. "Thank you for everything," Daniela Arturo said sincerely. "You've helped us see things more clearly." Lorena, with a touch of humility, added, "And thank you for being patient with us. I hope you find everything you're looking for." Daniela smiled, feeling a mixture of sadness and contentment. "I'm grateful for the opportunity and for the chance to learn from this experience." With heartfelt goodbyes, Daniela left the mansion, carrying with her the lessons learned and the connections made. She walked away with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that the week had brought not only challenges but also valuable insights for all involved. The weight of Arturo's decision settled heavily over the mansion. Lorena's desperate pleas for reconciliation echoed through the halls, but Arturo's resolve remained unshaken. The house, once filled with a fragile hope of familial unity, now felt like a battleground of broken trust and shattered dreams. In the days following the announcement, Lorena's efforts to justify her actions were met with skepticism and disdain. Friends and family members struggled to come to terms with the sudden upheaval, their sympathy for Arturo deepening as the details of Lorena's betrayal became clear. Despite the turmoil, Arturo found solace in the support of those who stood by him. He devoted himself to managing the fallout from the divorce, working to untangle the personal and financial ramifications of the split. The mansion, once a symbol of familial warmth, now felt like a symbol of a life that had unraveled. Daniela, who had been caught in the crossfire of this emotional storm, chose to distance herself from the chaos. She understood that her presence, though intended to be a source of healing and connection, had inadvertently become part of the discord. With a heavy heart, she prepared to leave, feeling a mixture of sadness and relief. One evening, as Daniela packed her belongings, Arturo approached her, his face a mask of weariness and regret. "Daniela, I want to thank you again for everything you've done. I know the situation has been incredibly difficult, and I'm sorry for the role you've played in it." Daniela looked up, her eyes reflecting the sadness of her own departure. "Arturo, I came here hoping to find something I had always longed for, a sense of family. Despite everything that's happened, I'm grateful for the experience and for the kindness you showed me." Arturo nodded, his voice tinged with emotion. You deserve so much more than the chaos we've had here. I hope you find the peace and fulfillment you're looking for." As Daniela left the mansion for the final time, she felt a profound sense of closure. The experience had been a turbulent one, but it had also brought her valuable lessons and a deeper understanding of herself. Meanwhile, Arturo faced the next phase of his life with a sense of cautious optimism. The divorce proceedings were underway, and though the path ahead was fraught with challenges, he remained focused on rebuilding his life and healing from the betrayal. The mansion, once a symbol of his shattered trust, would slowly become a space of renewal and hope. As the weeks turned into months, Arturo found strength in the support of friends and the wisdom gained from his experiences. He began to reconnect with his own aspirations and passions, channeling his energy into personal growth and reflection. The memory of the tumultuous weeks remained, but it also served as a catalyst for his own transformation. In the end, Arturo's journey was one of resilience and rediscovery. The pain of betrayal gave way to a new beginning, marked by a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to forging a path forward, no matter how uncertain it might be. The mansion, once a place of opulence and pretense, now felt like a shell of its former self. The emotional tumult left behind by Lorena's departure had transformed its atmosphere into one of solemn reflection and raw vulnerability. As the front door slammed shut behind Lorena, the reverberation seemed to linger in the air, a stark reminder of the chaotic end of a turbulent chapter. Arturo and Daniela stood in the kitchen, surrounded by the remnants of a life that had been abruptly altered. "Thank you for your support," Daniela Arturo said, his voice breaking the heavy silence. "I know this ordeal has been as unsettling for you as it has been for me." Daniela nodded, her expression a mix of exhaustion and empathy. "I wish things could have turned out differently," she said softly, her eyes reflecting the weight of recent events. Arturo's gaze softened as he looked at her. Sometimes confronting the truth is necessary, even when it brings pain. Your actions, though difficult, have ultimately brought clarity. Daniela took a deep breath, the sense of relief mingling with sadness. "I never wanted to be a part of this drama. My only intention was to help, to uncover the truth that was hidden." "I understand," Arturo said, a flicker of gratitude in his eyes. "Your courage in facing the uncomfortable truth has been invaluable. Despite the pain, it's led us to a point where we can start to rebuild." As they spoke, the air in the kitchen seemed to grow lighter, though the emotional residue of the day's events still hung heavily. Daniela glanced around the room, noting how the environment, once vibrant, now felt charged with a solemn energy. "Arturo, I'm grateful for your kindness and understanding," Daniela said, her voice trembling slightly. "This experience has been transformative for me, though not in the way I had hoped." Arturo managed a sad smile. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations that test our resolve and our character. It's through these trials that we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of their shared experiences creating a bond of mutual respect and understanding. Daniela's departure was imminent, and as she prepared to leave, Arturo felt a pang of regret for the circumstances that had led to their parting. "I hope you find peace and fulfillment in the future," Arturo said sincerely. "You've been a beacon of truth in a time of darkness." Daniela gave a small, appreciative nod. "And I hope you find the strength to rebuild and heal from this painful chapter. Thank you for everything." As Daniela walked out of the mansion, Arturo watched her go, feeling a mixture of sadness and hope. The mansion, now quiet and still, seemed to echo with the sounds of change and the promise of new beginnings. In the solitude of his home, Arturo was left to contemplate the future. The journey ahead would be challenging, but he was determined to face it with a renewed sense of purpose and resilience. The pain of betrayal would linger, but it would also serve as a catalyst for growth and transformation. Arturo's commitment to moving forward with integrity and self-reflection marked the beginning of a new chapter. As he closed the door behind Daniela, he took a deep breath, ready to embrace the lessons learned and the opportunities for healing that lay ahead. The new chapter in Arturo and Daniela's lives began to unfold with a sense of renewal and purpose. As the days turned into months, the mansion, once a symbol of turmoil, transformed into a haven of growth and understanding. The garden, where Arturo and Daniela had shared so many heartfelt conversations, became a symbol of their budding friendship and the new beginnings they were cultivating. Arturo's decision to support Daniela's dreams was more than just a gesture of kindness. It was a commitment to building a meaningful future together. Daniela's enthusiasm for studying law was a testament to her resilience and determination, qualities that Arturo admired and wanted to nurture. One sunny afternoon, as they sat together in the garden, Daniela looked up from her books, her face lit with the glow of newfound confidence. "Arturo, I never thought I could feel so at peace and hopeful about the future. Your support has meant the world to me," she said sincerely. Arturo smiled, his gaze reflecting the pride and affection he felt. "Seeing you grow and pursue your dreams has brought a new sense of fulfillment to my life. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be part of your journey." Their bond deepened with each passing day. Arturo's involvement in Daniela's education and personal development was more than just financial support. It was a shared journey towards creating something beautiful out of their difficult circumstances. They celebrated small victories together, each completed assignment, each new lesson learned, each step closer to Daniela's goal of becoming a lawyer. The mansion, once a place of discord, became a backdrop for their shared achievements and growth. The air was filled with laughter and the gentle hum of progress as Daniela studied diligently and Arturo provided unwavering support. They made it a point to enjoy the simple pleasures of life, from cooking together to taking long walks in the garden, which helped them build a strong, genuine connection. One evening, as they sat together in the dining room, Arturo turned to Daniela with a contemplative look. "You've come a long way, Daniela. Your strength and dedication are inspiring. I believe you're going to make a significant impact in the field of law." Daniela's eyes sparkled with gratitude and excitement. "Thank you, Arturo. I feel like I finally have a purpose and a place where I belong. It's all thanks to you." Their shared experiences and mutual support had forged a powerful connection between them. Arturo and Daniela's relationship, built on trust and genuine affection, became a testament to the healing power of understanding and compassion. As the seasons changed, so did their lives. The shadows of the past receded, replaced by the light of new possibilities. Arturo and Daniela faced the future with optimism, knowing that they had found not only a new sense of family but also a path to personal fulfillment and happiness. Together, they embraced the journey ahead, ready to tackle new challenges and celebrate their successes. Their story was no longer defined by past betrayals, but by their shared commitment to growth and the promise of a brighter, more hopeful future. As we come to the end of this gripping story, it's clear that honesty, trust, and perseverance play crucial roles in our lives and relationships. Through Arturo and Daniela's journey, we've seen how betrayal can cause deep wounds, but also how the truth can set us free and lead to new beginnings. What have you learned from Arturo and Daniela's experience? How has this story resonated with you? We invite you to share in the comments below one key lesson you've taken from this video and how you plan to apply it in your own life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue bringing you stories and insights that matter. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.